Om Shri Sai Ram, and welcome to Friday Night Inspirations, offering ourselves at the divine lotus feet of Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba, the guide and director of this program. We welcome you to today's special celebration of Eeswaramma Day. On that note, we begin with a small musical offering at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Mother Sai. Mother of mine, you gave to me all of my life to do as I please. I owe everything I have to you, Mother, sweet Mother of mine. Mother, sweet Mother of mine. Mother of mine, when I was young, you showed me the right way things should be done. Without your love, where would I be? Mother, sweet Mother of mine. Mother, you gave me happiness, much more than words can say. I pray, O Son, that you bless us every night and every day. Mother of mine, now I am grown and I can walk straight all on my own. I'd like to give you what you gave to me, Mother, sweet Mother of mine. Mother, sweet Mother of mine. With that, we move on into our program for this evening. We have a very special guest who will be enlightening us with his experiences and insights. Our guest speaker for today is Sri Ghandikota Aryama. Aryama Uncle is the grandson of the Rishi who wrote the Sai Gayatri, and he is the grandson, and he is the son of the Pandit who revealed to us the Sai Surya Gayatri and Sai Hiranyagarbha Gayatri. Aryama Uncle has many countless experiences to share, many valuable insights that await us. With that, I transfer the mic to Aryama Uncle.
Sai Ram, everyone. Sai Ram, brothers and sisters. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I'll start with a quick biography and some of the experiences of Swami that we were very, very fortunate to have had over the years. We come from a family of Vedic Pandits on both my maternal and paternal side. And of course, Vedic Pandits who were very knowledgeable and very, highly philosophical in their daily lives. I was born in 1948 in a small village called Eeswaramma in West Godavari district, Andhra Pradesh. It's about 500 or 600 miles from Puttaparthi, I think. And it's on the east coast of India. And the distinction of that village was that there were a number of Vedic families that lived there, and Vedic Padashalas there. But my father was one of the first ones to take a westernized education. His elder brother, my uncle, was a Vedic Pandit also. But for various reasons, and the chief of it being that one of the Maharajas had given him a scholarship and wanted someone to learn Western, have a Western education so that some of the Vedas could be passed on to others. So since the elder brother took up the Vedic studies, my father took up Western education. He was an economist. So he went to Madras University and then later came to the United States to do a PhD in economics. He came in 1949. There were very few Indians here at that time. I was born in 48, so he left after about a year, and my mother and I joined him in 1952 in New York. So we've been living here in the United States for many years. We are 5 brothers, 4 of whom were born abroad. I'm the only Indian born. And in 1952, we came to the United States. Now, living in the United States, my mother and father, because they were very rooted in Bharatiya cultural and philosophical things, they tried to pass that on in the best way possible to us. And of course, although we can't say that we did as well as they did, we tried to pass that on to our children too. Now, in 1956 or so was when we first heard of Swami. At that time, my father's elder sister had some problems with one of her sons who had gotten very ill. And so they were looking for some hope. And word of mouth brought them to Swami in Puttaparthi. So they were the ones who brought the whole family over, introduced us to Swami. And in the late 1950s, we went to Puttaparthi for the first time. That was, I believe, in 1959 when I was about 11 years old. So we came from the United States, New York, and I remember we had to take a car as far as Bukkapatnam. And then from there we hired 2 bullock carts that took us to Puttaparthi. So one bullock cart had my brothers, my younger brothers, and the other bullock cart had luggage, the Samsonite American Twister. We had at that time, I believe, I had 3 brothers. There was one born a few years after that. So with the children and my parents, we went to Puttaparthi. In those days, there was no road all the way, so as I said, we had to go to Bukkapatnam and then go. So it was quite an adventure for me, and I still remember bits of it. The Chitravati was not a very deep river. We had to, I was getting on and off the bullock cart and enjoying the walk too. I think it's a 4 to 5 mile walk to Bukkapatnam. And the Chitravati was at that time just about ankle deep, so it was not very deep. But I remember that when we first entered Puttaparthi, it was like a garden, Swami's ashram, that is. Because it was a very tiny village, a few thatched huts and a few buildings. But the ashram itself was like a garden. And the mandir, of course, is not as beautiful as it used to be. There was only one shed at the time, and the mandir, and all in this garden. And in those days, one didn't have to queue up. One just went in and sat down near the mandir, and Swami would come and talk to people over, and informally, very informally. It was only during, big festivals that there was any crowd, and I don't think we went during the festival. It was quite easy to talk to him. And at that time, we were introduced to his parents also. My mother and father introduced me to them, and they are very humble. They were very humble people, and very service-oriented. Even for all the devotees who came, on many of the arrangements, they were actually helping people stay. We stayed under the trees during that first visit. That was the first of many visits over the years. And we were blessed by Swami with many other interviews and opportunities to see the glories that were happening. In 1963, which is a few years later, we had actually moved to Delhi in 1961. And so I lived in India for 4 years, and I went to high school in India. So I did the previous education was all in the United States, and then for high school I went to, we were in India for 4 years. So that was a very formative time because I was able to spend time with my grandfather and grandmother, and we were able to learn Hindi, Telugu, and and also we were able to visit Bhakti quite often. In 1963, my uncle, my paternal uncle, and my Upanenams were performed by Swami in Puttaparthi. I still remember the time when he first came into the shed where the ceremonies were being done. It was he was like a vision, a bright, glowing vision with his orange robe, and he walked in, and everyone was expecting him, and people, were falling at his feet. So we were sitting where they have the sacred fire. We were chanting the mantras, and Swami came up, and then he chanted the Gayatri into our ears. Only the two of us, my uncle and I, had the Upanenam done, and then he materialized a lot of vibhuti and applied it on our foreheads, and a whole lot of it fell in my eyes, and I had to start blinking heavily to try to see Swami and kneel and get Namaskaram. But nothing happens without a reason, and I had some issues with my eyesight and pretty weak eyesight, very thick glasses. But somehow after that, things stabilized, and I had never had those issues anymore. So that was just the first of many cures in the family that Swami, out of his glory and out of his love, performed, not just for us, but over the years we could see how so many people were affected and were brought to his feet. And for that we are very grateful. It's a very rare thing to be present when there's an avatar. Now there's one thing to know of the avatar, and the other is to actually meet him and seek his grace, which we were given a lot of opportunities for, and for which we are very, very grateful. So over the years, we were blessed with a number of interviews. And when Swami gave us a family interview, it was like a family, being with a family. He was like, the elder uncle or the grandfather for the younger ones. And he would, as soon as you crossed the threshold, all the rules changed. You could go up and talk to him. You could touch his feet. And, he would then talk to people, talk to the family. He used to talk high philosophy with my grandfather and my father. We would just, sit there and try to listen and understand. Sometimes the understanding comes not from the way he talks, but just being in his presence and absorbing that grace. You can understand that way too. And it was like he was always like a river of knowledge. I mean, he would open that river wide for my grandfather because he was a Vedic pundit, and he dealt with people at whatever level they are. Then later with my father, he would come down a notch. My father was a Sanskrit scholar, but not a Vedic pundit per se. And then when it came to us, he would descend to our level, and we had experienced over 40 years of or more of how those things changed, how people came and went, and how every time it was getting tougher and tougher to come close to him. He would say that you would see millions coming here that was not, and that came true within our eyes. We could see how things came from the 50s to the 60s, how things changed, how Prashantanilayam grew, and all those universities and colleges and the hospitals, how all of these were brought up by Swami one by one. And my brothers, my two youngest brothers, were able to take the benefit of that university. My brother Ravi Shankar joined the college in 1981. He was born and brought up in the United States, and he went for bachelor's and master's in Puttaparthi. Then my youngest brother Sanjay also. So they were both able to take that benefit. And one of the highlights of the interviews was the one in Christmas Eve 1977. The whole family had gone to Vrindavan, Whitefield, and essentially my parents had taken my younger brothers. I was working by then, and I couldn't get off. I had also taken a lot of time off because I had been ill. And my younger brother Manohar, was the third one. He got sick with what was called ileitis. It was a chronic inflammation of the small intestine, and the doctors were not very positive for him. So my father and mother decided to take him to see Swami. So the whole family went, including my wife. And, of course, I was the only one left here. But so what I'm telling you is what I heard from the family. So 1977, Christmas Eve, they'd gone, and they brought my grandfather along also. So all of them were in Brindavan, Whitefield, and in the ashram. And so then Swami asked my grandfather to speak. And that morning he had gotten a vision of the Sai Gayatri, of what was later called the Sai Gayatri. A Gayatri is a form of meditation on a selected Lord, aspect of the Lord, of Bhagawan. And this is for the Sai Bhagawan. And, later on Swami would say that my grandfather was a Rishi for that. So it was revealed to him. And Swami asked my grandfather to speak that day. So it was like everything was arranged without our knowledge. So he got up and then he said, I had this vision this morning. And then he came out with the Sai Gayatri for the first time in the presence of Bhagawan in 1977, Christmas Eve. And later, Swami granted an interview for the family. In that interview, my father and mother were just about to bring up the topic of my brother's ileitis problem. But Swami interrupted them and said, yes, I know. Don't worry about it. I will take care of it. He's completely cured. Then he touched his stomach and materialized vibhuti and gave it to him, and then said, now you're cured. You're totally, you're fine. And so that evening, the Swami hosted a Christmas dinner for all the students and selected invitees, including our family. And in that dinner, everyone was seated on the floor with the leaves in front, and people were coming by and serving them. And Swami, of course, would come by and make sure everything was done to his satisfaction. Then he came up to where my parents, my brother, my father, and my brothers were sitting, and he noticed that my brother wasn't eating, the one who had been cured. And this was because he had been living on very bland baby food type of food. And so the hot andhra or Bangalore curries were not suitable for his condition. So he was told by my father. He said, be careful, even though Swami has said, you're cured, don't just rush into this. It's hot food. So then Swami came up to him and said, hey, why aren't you eating? Didn't I say that you're cured? Come on, go ahead and eat. So my brother looked at my father, and my father, nodded, and then so he started to eat. And from that time on, he never had a problem. So Swami can cure anything. That's what we found over the years, because that was just the first of many cures. My parents brought back some vibhuti for me, and then I was cured too. I had colitis, which is another chronic inflammation of the intestine, but not as serious as the ileitis. So the next, over the years, we had many interviews and many occasions to see the glory of Bhagawan. He is indeed the avatar. Then I guess about that. Well, yeah, sorry. That time was also when my mother was going to bring up another problem that I had, and that was we didn't have children. We'd been married for 77. That was about 4 years, and the doctors had told us that I couldn't have children. because of some issues. So then she was about to bring that problem up, and then Swami said, no, don't worry about him. He'll have children. They'll have children. My wife happened to be there too. So don't worry, they will have children. I will take care of it. So we thought, hey, that's good. And then we were waiting. We waited a year or 2, 3. It became 10 years. But Swami, 10 years later, he called my wife and I into an interview in Puttaparthi, then again, and then later in Bangalore. He gave us a third interview, and then at that time he gave us Vibhuti and said, now you will have issue. And he said, call your parents, because my parents had retired and moved to Brindavan and the Puttaparthi. And they said, call them and then tell them that when you have the children. And, then my father said, Swami, they will call you. And then Swami said, no, there's no need to call me. I know. You just call them. And so then we had, less than a year later, a boy was born, and my parents came just on the night before Swami sent them. So they arrived the night before he was born, and he was named Jayalanthan. He was the first. Then Swami said, we have to do Kanyadanam, which means to give away a girl in marriage. And we thought we'd have a girl, but actually he sent us another son. He named him Aryama. And then we had a daughter after that named Vijayashri. So where we asked for one, we got 2 boys and a girl. So our cup was overflowing with joy. In February of 2000, we performed the Upanenams of Jayalanthan, Aryama, and my brother Ramesh's son Harshavardhan. He had given these 3 names, Jayalanthan, Aryama, and Harshavardhan. And so we were so fortunate over the years, and we could see how the glory of Swami had spread from the early days on to where we couldn't sit down, and in the hall it was not like 4 certainly. And over the years as an engineer, I used to travel worldwide. Many times I faced what seemed to be intractable problems, tough customers, tough issues at work, where what I was doing seemed to have something that was insurmountable. But whenever I prayed to Bhagawan, the inspiration would come, and somehow I was able to pull something out and get the job done. So Swami saved me many, many, many times professionally. So if you look to the Lord, take one step towards Him, and He will reward you with much more than what you wanted. And our grandfather always used to say, we must never, ever forget that Swami is Bhagawan, is God. He appears amongst us, and for those who are near Him, sometimes they think they see things that they don't understand, and then think they understand everything of Swami, but nobody can, because He's the universal Lord. He has everything in His hands. We've seen this time and time again, where He's rescued us from all kinds of issues and problems. Not only that, we've heard of so many other cases where things were insurmountable, problems could not be solved by doctors or anyone, and then Swami has taken care of that. So He is the past, the present, the future, the microcosm, and the macrocosm. We're all sons and daughters of Bhagawan. There's nobody who's less or more. Everyone has that equal access to the Lord. And now that we have lost that avataric form that we were so attached to, now we have to reconcile ourselves with the fact that He's not reminding us that He's always with us in our hearts. And, so He is the embodiment of love. And that love shines through constantly all the time to everyone if we just turn to it. And you can only reach the human values of truth, righteousness, peace, and nonviolence only if you exhibit love. So love starts with everything, and love is God. So now this is Monday is Eeswaramma Day, and so now we have to talk a little bit about Eeswaramma. Now I was so fortunate to have met Swami's parents, in the early days, and then later on a few times. And one thing that strikes me is their attitude of service, especially in Eeswaramma's case. Her son is Bhagawan, but she was not, caught up in that. No, she was always concerned with how the devotees were being taken care of, and I still remember that that Swami's parents were arranged for milk for my brothers in the late 50s when we had gone, in the early 60s when we went, and because they were young children also for my grandfather. So they were very, very devoted to all the devotees themselves. And it is because, Swami says in his discourses, that it is because of Eeswaramma, his mother, that he started the hospital, the school, and the university, and the water projects. Of course, Bhagawan has come here to do all of that. But the reason he gives is because of his mother's request. He also talks about Ishwara Vidyasagar in his discourses, of how he came from an extremely poor family, and how he studied and hard, and became a great scholar, and held high positions, and how humble he was, and how when he was earning money and making a lot of money, he went to his mother and told her, "I want to buy you jewels and saris." And then she asked only for 3 jewels. "I don't need any of that." She asked for only 3 jewels. One was a school for the children in their town. The other was for a hospital. And the other was for water for the village. So Ishwara Vidyasagar started the school, the hospital, and dug wells. So Swami gives this as an example of service, of how everyone has to respect the mother. How Ishwara Vidyasagar used to respect the mother, and he did it by example. So to Eeswaramma we owe a lot. And she was the one who told Swami, I cannot see the suffering of the sick and the mothers who are giving birth. Please start a village, a small hospital in our village. And then later on, she wanted a school for the children so that they could learn and do something with themselves. And then, because of that Rayalaseema, Anantapur district is so parched, she asked for drinking water. So Swami started these drinking water projects, hospitals, universities, and everything is free. There's the distinction between Bhagawan's love and what others can do. It is done with no expectation of reward and for free. So that is the culture of Bharat. That's the culture of India, and that is the culture of humanity that we must all fulfill in our own lives in whatever small way that we can. So, are there any questions, or is there something that you would like me to talk about?
Sairam, there are no questions at this point.
Okay.
You can keep going.
Okay, I can keep going.
Yes.
Okay, now, I said that when I used to travel, I had, problems and things, but once I went to Japan, that was one of the problems. They had, the Japanese are very stringent and very tough. Once they have, they gave us a problem to implement. I was a computer systems engineer, and what I used to do was real-time hardware-in-the-loop simulation. So our company used to build specialized simulation computers that were used in R&D centers across the world. And there was a handheld missile simulation. It was a very tough simulation to do. It was what we call a system in which the reaction times are very, very fast. So you need a very fast processor to handle that simulation. And when you have hardware in the loop, what that means is that you have an actual missile controller, interfaced with the control system that's modeled on the computer. Because of that, the simulation had to be robust, and it had to be of high fidelity, or the hardware just wouldn't work, the external hardware that was connected to it. So what we had to do was to develop algorithms and parallel processing techniques in order to implement that. And all of us at the company cracked our heads trying to think of how we could accomplish this. Well, it so happened that I was assigned this project after another engineer could not come up with something. So now this was a big challenge. I mean, to get this working, and so basically, I spent a week on it and wasn't making any headway. It was almost there, but not quite. So I was thinking of Swami and praying to Swami, and then suddenly at 4 in the morning, I got an inspiration, and the inspiration worked. So I was able to get that simulation up and running. And, as my reward, they sent me to Japan to actually talk to the customer about it. So I was actually sent for a couple of things. I had to teach for 2 weeks, and then go to this customer and demonstrate the implementation so that they could run it on their system that they had over there. So in between, I was able to take a tour of Japan. On the weekends, I went to various places, Tokyo, Kyoto, Nara, and various places. It was very interesting. Then I went to, then I decided on one of the other weekends, my wife had come along too, because it was such a long trip and a unique experience. And so we went to, she came along, and then there was one weekend left and she had to leave. So that weekend she wasn't there, so I thought, why don't I go and climb Mount Fuji? Now, Mount Fujiyama is about 50 miles from Tokyo or so, and it's 12,500 feet. So then apparently there is a point where buses can go that's about 1/3 high. After that you have to trek up. However, since it's a volcano, very symmetric volcano, it's not a tough climb where you have to actually climb over rocks, etc. But it is, it is not a easy undertaking either, but moderate difficulty. So I read in some guidebook that it could take 5 hours to go up and down, and so I figured, okay, that's something I can do in a day's trip. So I took my time about it. I was done with work on Friday night, and then Saturday morning I got out there. But I took my time, and I got there about 11 a.m. in the morning. So it was in the 80s below, and where the bus stopped on the about 1/3 up, 4,000 feet. So I had gone with no backpack, just a shoulder bag with an SLR and one of those old-style camcorders. The camcorder is separate. It's like a little box that you carry on the side, plus the separate video camera. And so I had about 30 pounds of gear in a shoulder bag. And I was dressed with just I had sneakers and a long sleeve shirt. So I started climbing up, and on the way I talked to various people. One thing about this is that as you climb up, you meet all these people, such nice people. And they were, one of them was a U.S. Marine. He was actually quite a good, very fit guy. He tarried with me for a few minutes while we chatted. Then he just said, okay, I'll see you later, and he just ran up. And I fell in with some Japanese young guys, and they were going in a group of 10 people. And I'd gone up, I went up quite a ways with them, but it was getting tougher and tougher. Now, when they said 5 hours, that was under optimal conditions and one for someone who was very fit. Well, I took my time about it, and by 5 hours, that was about 4 o'clock. We reached near the summit. But by then, clouds had come in, and temperature went from 80 degrees from the 80s into the 40s. There was a significant difference, and I was quite cold. I just had a shirt, light shirt. And so I was wondering, as we neared the peak, and at 4 o'clock when it was getting cold, I was thinking, Swami, what did I do? There's no easy way out of it, because by 4:30 it was getting dark, and I had no flashlight. I had this 30 pounds of camera on me, and I had taken maybe a few pictures, and it was totally useless for me. I had no coat, and I was praying. I prayed hard to Swami. Swami, please save me. I'm in a mess. I don't know what to do. And at that moment, the Japanese buddies I made climbing up, they were looking at me. And one of them offered me his sweater. He had an extra sweater, and he offered it. So I was thankful. And then, but it was still getting dark, and they'd gone up. And by the time we reached the rim, it was about almost 5 o'clock. It was getting dark. We took a walk around the rim, then went into the caldera. And then I was thinking, it was getting darker and darker. How am I going to hike back down at 5:30 p.m.? It was already twilight, and it is rocky way back. And it's not easy. People need flashlights and a coat. I didn't have a flashlight, and I had a little sweater. But it turned out that these people, this group of Japanese, young guys, they had booked a room in the only inn at the top. That room, they were about a dozen of them, and they had booked that room a year in advance. And here, Swami came back and gave me and saved my life again. There was no way. I would have had to have just stayed up there in the cold or worked my way down slowly. And instead, I was able to stay with them in that room. So it was just an incident of how poor planning on my part meant, a rescue by Swami. One can never depend on that, of course, but if you have faith, anything is possible. We had an incurable, uveitis for my brother that was cured. We didn't have children for, I guess it was 15, 17 years after our wedding, and then Swami gave us the blessings of a child. And not only one, but 2 boys and a girl. And so Swami is always with us. He's always here. The Lord is there for everyone. He is the Father, and mankind are the children. So we have to always remember that and keep His principles at heart. And in whatever we do in life, He's there for us at any time. So, I think we've reached the end of the talk. So, Rishi, to everyone, and thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you.
Sai Uncle, thank you so much for joining us this evening on our program Friday Night Inspirations. It was a great honor to have you narrate your experiences and valuable insights on how we can feel Swami's presence. And we definitely learned a lot from your experiences on how Swami is always with us, always guiding us. And with that, let us delve in to that same Lord, His sweet name, in the form of melodious bhajans. That beautiful son of Mother Eeswaramma, who took birth in 1926 on November 23rd. On this day, we celebrate Eeswaramma Day and salute that Divine Mother who gave us her beloved son, Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Shri Ganesh, Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh, Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh, Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh, Dancing Ganesh, Faithful Ganesh, Dancing Ganesh, Faithful Ganesh, dance with me, play with me, be my Ganesh. Dance with me, play with me, be my Ganesh. Be my Ganesh, be my Ganesh. Be my Ganesh, be my Ganesh. Teach me how to dance with my fears, Ganesh. Teach me how to dance with my fears, Ganesh. Gauri Ganesh, Uma Ganesh, Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh, Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh, Dancing Ganesh, Playful Ganesh, dance with me, play with me, be my Ganesh. Be my Ganesh, be my Ganesh. Teach me how to dance with my fears, Ganesh. Teach me how to dance with my fears, Ganesh. Gauri Ganesh, Uma Ganesh, Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh. Sai Om, Sai Om, Sai Om. Sai Om, Sai Om, Sai Om. Tan man pran mein Sai Om. Tan man pran mein Sai Om. Sai Om, Sai Om, Sai Om. Sayan sapan mein Sai Om. Sayan sapan mein Sai Om. Nayan nayan mein Sai Om. नयन नयन में साइयो जन्म मरण में जन्म मरण में साइयो मन प्राण सायो सायों सायों सायो सपन में सायो गगन पवन में सायो नयन नयन में सायो जन्म मरण में सायो जन्म मरण में नयना बाबा शांत स्वरूप साई कृष्णावतारा पति विहारा साई रामावतारा कृष्णावतारा पति विहारा साई देवाधिदेव